for Jira Service Desk. This is going to be a fairly long webinar, and I'm going to be going over the ins and outs of Jira Service Desk, what it actually is, what we can actually do with it, and how it can help your company. So I just want to start off by going over what we actually do as a Platinum solution partner. We do things like licensing, so we can offer discounts on licensing for the entire Atlassian stack. We offer deployments, maintenance, as well as training. And we're also starting these webinars for you guys too. We serve over 250 customers worldwide. We've got over 120 dedicated Atlassian resources, and we serve in over 25 industries. So there's just a bit of background on us. So today's training agenda, let's just dive right into it. First of all, I'm going to go over or give you an overview of Jira Service Desk, just some theoretical stuff. Then I'm going to be going over a use case. So it's a hypothetical company facing some challenges. They don't have Jira Service Desk today. And then we're actually going to be looking at how it can actually help them, how they can set it up to actually fulfill their need. And there'll be some requirements there, and we'll be going through the actual software and showing you in line with the training that we set here in the agenda, how we can actually achieve a complete service desk solution. So as part of the actual training and the configuration, we are going to be creating a service desk project. First of all, we're going to be looking at the request types. These are the issues that your customers can actually create via email or within the customer portal. Then we're actually going to be adding agents and customers to your service desk. We'll be looking at the general portal settings, so how you can actually add a logo to your customer portal to personalize it a little bit more, how we can actually change the colors and the branding as well. Then we'll be looking at how we can set up requests by email. So if you need your customers to send emails directly to the actual service desk, how can we actually configure this? Then we'll be looking at automatic customer notifications, things like letting the customers know that we've actually received their email and we're working on it, and how we can actually edit these. Next, we'll be looking at the satisfaction survey and how your agents are actually doing. This is just a way for customers to actually let you know the quality of the service. Then we'll be looking at how we can actually integrate a knowledge base. So we'll be creating a space within Confluence and setting this up to give you kind of how-to articles, so your agents can send these to customers and your customers can actually self-service a lot quicker. Then we'll look at configuring the SLAs and modifying the calendars that your employees use. And then we'll have a quick look at the automations that Jira Service Desk offers. There are many inbuilt ones, and there are ones that you can actually create yourself. So we'll have a look at this as well. Then we'll be creating service queues. These are basically queues for your agents to work on. So they'll get inbound tickets, and these are represented in queues. Then we'll be creating some reports that will be useful for management and also for the agents as well. And finally, we'll be looking at Atlassian apps, and some of the apps are actually pretty helpful or useful with Jira Service Desk as well. And we'll look at the comparison between JSD Server, Cloud, and Data Center 2. So I just wanted to set the stage there and let you guys know what we're actually going to be looking at and the problems that we're going to be tackling. So I'm just going to dive right into the service desk overview now. So Atlassian in general focuses on helping teams. The software helps to organize tickets, people. It allows people to actually discuss around the tickets, whether it's in Service Desk, whether it's in Jira Core, or in Jira software. Many different teams can be involved. It could be development teams, IT teams, support teams, HR teams, so IT, non-IT teams. And it allows you to complete the task as well in a timely fashion. And I like this saying, behind every great human achievement, there is a team. And this is certainly something that Atlassian believes into. So there are a few different bits of software. So we have Jira Core, we have Jira Software, and we have Jira Service Desk. And each one of these are actually used by different teams. But in general, We have business teams using Jira Core, creating their processes, whether it's for HR or marketing. Then we have Jira Service Desk, which is normally used by IT teams, and they could be helping out either IT teams or non-IT teams. And then finally, we got Jira Software, which is how Atlassian kind of, or what it was founded on. So this is more for development teams, you know, whether they're using Kanban boards, Scrum boards. It's just to help the overall development workflows. So today, obviously, we're going to be focusing on Jira Service Desk. And essentially, Jira Service Desk is a simple service desk for modern teams. You know, it's not complicated. It doesn't take too long to set up, which is what Atlassian believes in. You know, they want easy stuff to use. They want to make sure it contains all of the relevant features that are actually useful for service desk teams to actually use. So now a bit about the theory or about some of the features in Jira Service Desk. So one of the big things is that people can self-service, and this actually saves a lot of costs for customers. They make it easy for customers to find what they need by setting up spaces in Confluence and linking these spaces then to the actual service desk itself. So service desk agents, and I'll be showing this to you later, can suggest articles for customers to look at, and they can resolve the issues a lot quicker. SLAs are also an out-of-the-box functionality for Jira Service Desk. Your agents get a very simple queue, and they can easily see here which issues need to be actioned first. So we can see here that this SLA has been breached here. We have this kind of red clock here, and we're 5 hours overdue here. So SLAs are really important for many different companies, and each company has their own SLAs, and SLAs are very configurable within Jira Service Desk. This is an important thing to mention too. The automation of repetitive tasks, that's also incredibly important. Otherwise, you're going to be doing a lot of manual stuff, you know, costing hours, hundreds of hours over the years. And I'll be showing you some stuff within Jira Service Desk, which makes it very easy to automate processes. For example, you know, if a customer replies to an issue that's resolved, should we reopen it? We can automatically do that with Jira Service Desk. So it's also very easy to integrate with Jira software. You can actually link tickets behind the actual service desk ticket that you have. If there's a code change required, we can easily link this, and then we'll get an overview and actually see where the development ticket is actually at within the life cycle. So again, this is a very useful thing for Jira Service Desk. It's also ITIL certified. So there are different templates that you can use within Jira Service Desk. So you can use something called a basic template, customer service template, and there's other templates too. And amongst these templates, you get issue types. So one of these templates that you use is actually contains a change issue type, an incident issue type, problem issue type. And these are actually ITIL certified. So you kind of have like out of the box best workflow practices. And these are actually configurable as well. So it's not locked down. A lot of service desk applications today are actually pretty locked down or don't offer very easy to configure software or workflows, I should say. So again, this is important to mention. There's also a robust API. So if you need to integrate monitoring tools, or you need to add issue collectors. So if you need to put something on your intranet for people to log tickets, it's also easy to do using a robust API. And it's just something to keep in mind. You're not just limited to the actual application itself. So that was a quick overview of Jira Service Desk. It's also very good for management. You can create your reports, as I mentioned earlier. We have the self-service here using knowledge base with Confluence. You can create email channels. You can have customer channels that they can log into on the customer portal. You can create your SLAs. You can configure the customer portal, make it easier to use. You can set up various queues for your agents so they know which tickets to action first. We'll be talking later about the different platforms that are actually supported and the pros and cons of each. We'll then also be looking at how we can actually configure reports within Jira Service Desk. how you can search for issues, and as I mentioned earlier, you can also automate issues. So let's dive into the use case now. So there is a company, again, this is fictitious. This is just going to help us with the actual training and what we can actually do. There's a company called Raising Tech. It's an IT company, and they sell both software and hardware to customers. And at the moment, the company's just using emails to keep track of issues. There isn't any customer portal. There's no reporting for management. There's no SLAs that are actually set up and being used. And because of all of this, the company is losing a lot of customers due to terrible response times. Sometimes the issues are completely forgotten about, or they could take weeks to actually be actioned. And there's no collaboration between the development teams and the IT support team. So management is also not very happy because they can't actually see where customer support stands today. They can't see where the tickets are actually coming from, which customers are affected the most, which ones are creating the most tickets, etc. So they want some way to actually see some reports and to get some overview of the support team. The IT team would also like to deal with some internal requests and service desk, and they're also using internally, they're also just using emails. Okay, so after that brief introduction and overview of Jira Service Desk, we've kind of set the stage now for what we're actually going to be doing within Jira Service Desk. So this is the challenge. There's been a lot of discussions with stakeholders as well as with customers, and we've now been tasked to produce the following. And now we've got a few pages with actual practical examples. So we're going to be referring back to this as we go along, and we're going to be taking care of each one of these points, and I'll be discussing also in detail more about the relevant points and how this relates to Jira Service Desk. So the first thing that we actually want to do is we want to create a Jira Service Desk project using a customer service template, and then we're going to add a description. So we're going to X out of that. And this is using our demo site. Here, this is the initial screen that we get within Jira. I've been set up as a sysadmin, and you're also going to need to be an admin to actually create a project. We're going to go to projects, create projects. And as you see here, we have software, core or business, and service desk. So today we're going to be focusing on service desk. We have a few different templates here. We have basic, we have IT service desk, we have customer service. So I'm just going to show you what each one of these entails. We're going to be using the customer service template, but if we were going to create a basic service desk or a service desk project using a basic template, as you see here is a description of what we can actually do. So this template helps you to manage IT help, helps with employee onboarding tasks, purchase requests, and other common requests. And we can see here the actual issue types that come along with this template. So we have a service request, we have IT help, we have service requests with approvals, task, and subtask. If we look at the IT service desk template, if we were going to create the project using that, here's a description: get a handle on incidents and changes with built-in ITSM workflows that increase your team's efficiency and integrate seamlessly with existing Jira projects. And again, these are the issue types that you guys actually get if you created a Jira Service Desk project with this template. You'd have a service request issue type, service request with approvals issue type, incidents, change, problem, task, and subtask. So we're going to go back. We're going to go to customer service. This is the one that we're going to be using. So once again, this is a good one if you have, if it's kind of customer facing. This is one that I'd recommend. So we're going to go to next. Assist your customers and capture their feedback through a custom portal or via email. So as you see, there's a few issue types, but I think these ones are kind of more relevant for us and for Raising Tech, for the company that needs this. So we're going to create a name for this project. We're going to call it Raising Tech. as you see here, we also have a key. So it's going to take the first three. If these were different words, it would just take the first letter from each one of the words. But we're just going to keep it together. Raising Tech. I'm the project lead, and now we're going to submit this and create the project. Let's give it a couple of seconds here to create the project. Excellent. So this is the initial project that we have created. And as one of the tasks, it says to create a description. So let's do that for the project. So we are going to go to project settings. We're going to go to details and add in a description for Raising Tech. So we're just going to put in, this is the customer service project for Raising Tech. I'm going to save those details. And just to make this a bit different from other projects within Jira here, let's put in a different logo. I'm a fan of this avatar. And we can also save that. Great. Okay, so we have achieved that. So what I want to do next is, I mean, part of this is actually looking at the issue types and changing request types. First of all, I just want to show you, after creating that template, what the customer portal looks like in Jira Service Desk, just to give you some idea. So we're going to go to customer channels. This is your information here on the left. So agents will have this view as well. This stuff here is stuff that admins can actually see. So this is a place where you can actually configure the project settings. So you can collapse the sidebar too. So we get rid of the agents view, and the project settings, again, is for admins. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the customer portal. So customer channels, currently we only have a customer portal. We're going to visit the portal. And this is what it looks like. So Raising Tech, we have a few default request types that were created from the templates. We have 3 issue types. We have feature request, support, and bug. So you can create multiple request types based on the issue types. So this request type here, technical support, you should click on if you need help installing, configuring, or troubleshooting. And if you click on one of these request types, it will take you to a form that you should then fill in. And then you can create your actual, your support ticket there. Cool. So that's just a quick overview of what the customer portal looks like after you directly create a project. So let's get cracking with these requirements then. We've created the Jira Service Desk project with a customer service template, and we've added a description. Now we're going to have a look at the 3 default issue types that are created in the project. As I mentioned before, they are feature type, bug, and what was the other one? I will be showing you. Support. So we have bug, new feature, and support. So let's show you those. We can have a look at the workflow for each one of these. So this is how your agents would actually be dealing with the issues or customer support tickets. The bug workflow starts off with open. It can then be sent to either a done status, it can be progressed, and this is in general just a workflow that you have here. So you can see by the arrows where it can actually transition to, and all the statuses actually lead to done besides pending. Something to look at here is shared with one issue types. So it looks like the bug workflow is actually shared with another issue type. So if we click on that, on issue types, we see that this workflow is actually used by both the new feature issue type and the bug issue type. So one of the things that we're looking at in here, or one of the requirements, is we need to create a separate workflow for the bug issue type, but we're going to create a defect issue type. So if we read here, you should change a bug issue type to a defect issue type, which has been pre-configured in Jira. You should now have defect, new feature, and support issue types in the JSD project. Okay, so what we want to do then here is we want to swap out this bug issue type and create or use a defect issue type. So we're going to go to issue types. We're going to go to actions, edit issue types within our admin password here. We are going to take out the bug issue type. Now we have new feature, support, and defect. So now we're going to save that, but the defect isn't quite using the proper workflow yet. We need to associate it with the appropriate workflow. So we're going to go to issues. This is where a bit of Jira experience comes in handy. We're going to go to the cog. We're going to go to issues. Okay, and then we're going to go to workflow schemes. Actually, the first thing we should do is get the workflow scheme. So let's go back. We're going to go to project settings, workflows. This is the scheme that this project is using. We're going to go back to issues, workflow schemes. This is the workflow scheme that's been created by the project. As you see here, we still have bug associated, support associated with this workflow, new feature associated with this workflow, and we're going to come in and edit this. So we're going to, excuse me, we're going to remove the bug issue type. Remember, it was shared before. So we've done it at project level. Now we're going to do it at the workflow scheme level. And we're actually going to discard this. I'm going to add from existing. We go to defect. So this is the workflow that we want. I'm going to finish that and publish that. It's going to associate that. That's just if there are any tickets before that were actually open, but there weren't. And we see here we've completed that. Great. So let's go back to the Raising Tech project here. So we're going to go to projects again, current project, Raising Tech. As you see here, we have that avatar that I put in. And we're going to go to project settings. And as you see here, we've now replaced the bug issue type with the defect issue type. We have new feature in here, which has the same workflow as a bug issue type, which has been replaced by defect and its own workflow, which looks a lot better now with more statuses. And we also have the support issue type. So again, we have 3 unique workflows now with 3 different issue types. So that was the first requirement. Let's look at the next one. You should add in analysis, or you should add an in analysis status in a defect workflow between open and ready for dev. So let's do that. So let's edit this workflow. And between these 2 statuses, we're going to add in another status. So we're going to go in here. We're going to delete this transition. We're going to add this status in analysis. And we're going to add in some transitions here. And this is going to ready for dev, so we can send this to dev as a transition. So as you can see here, the workflows are linked to issue types as they would be for Jira Core and Jira Software. So I'm just showing you guys how we can modify workflows in a service desk project. So we just added in a status here and put in a couple of new transitions. We're going to publish those changes now. And this is the new workflow. So that's great. So we've just modified a workflow. We have the 3 issue types, as we showed before. What we also need to do for defects, excuse me, my throat's a bit sore today. You should also capture the platform the bug is reported on. A custom field called platform should have two options in a drop-down list, mobile and desktop. Add this to the create, view, edit screen. So let's do that. So let's go back to the project. We are going to go to issues. We're going to go to custom fields. Let's let that load. Going to add in a custom field here. We're going to do a select list. Call this platform. Put in the description here, capture the platform, the defect occurs on. We could put in the option here, mobile, desktop, add that in and create that. We don't have to associate it with the screen just yet. So we need to add in another couple of fields here. So if we go back, we're going to create and add a custom field called feature type. And the options are going to be UI and functionality. We also need to add in a custom field called location. And we need to enter the location, whether it's Atlanta or LA. So I'm going to create the custom fields now, and then we're going to go back to the screen scheme and we're going to add those fields in last. So let's go now with feature type, UI and functionality as options. Got this annoying warning here. Okay, so feature type, feature change, required or requested, UI, functionality, create. Again, we don't need to, we'll perform a re-index shortly once we've added this one in. So let's go back to custom fields. We're doing location as one more custom field. Location, add the location, a support ticket was created from. So you're just going to put in here Atlanta. These are the two offices for Raising Tech. We're going to put Atlanta and LA, and we're going to create that. Great, so let's perform the re-index here. The warning keeps popping up. Just going to re-index. Shouldn't take too long. All right, as it currently does that. So now we need to add these custom fields to the create, view, and edit screen for all of those particular issue types. So the defect, new feature, and support issue types. So I'm hoping this won't take too long now. It's taking a little bit of time. Just bear with me here. So generally I'll leave this to actually do its stuff and not mess around in the background. It shouldn't normally cause an issue, but just let it do its thing. Great, so that's now worked. So let's go back to our project, Raising Tech. And we are going to go to the project settings, go to the screens. So we now have as I mentioned before, the defect issue type, new feature issue type, support issue type, and each one of these share the same screen. So what we're actually going to do is just go to this screen, and we are now going to add those fields. So we're going to add in location, feature type, and platform. Great. So we've just gone over these requirements now. We've added or replaced the bug issue type with defects. We've added the fields to the issue types. So now the next important thing is to actually modify the request types in the project. So as I showed you before, the request types are the things that you actually see within the customer portal. So just to reiterate that, let's go to Raising Tech. Let's go to Customer Channels, visit the portal. These are all of your request types. So you can have multiple request types associated with a single issue type. So for example, you could have the support issue type associated with technical support and product trial questions, for example. But you can create multiple request types that each pertain to one. So the next part of this training is looking at the request types. Some of the out-of-the-box request types for this customer service template are not required. So we're going to remove the suggest improvement request type from the customer portal, the product trial questions request type, and report a bug request type. We're going to replace with report a defect. So let's do that. Let's remove the suggest improvement request type and product trial questions. So let's go to project settings. We're going to go to request types. And again, these are all of your request types. So product trial questions and suggest improvement, we're going to get rid of. So we are going to delete that. That's no longer required. Product trial questions, also no longer required. So let's delete that. So before, if you remember, we actually had 3 issue types, including a bug and not defect. So this is no longer required. We're going to keep these 3 support request types that are associated with a support issue type, and this, and this request type that's associated with the new feature issue type. But this request type, report a bug, we no longer need. We're going to replace this with report a defect and use the new issue type. So let's go ahead and delete that. And now we're going to put in a new request type. So report a defect. And we're going to associate it with the defect issue type. This is if you need to report a defect. And create that. Great. Okay, so we've just completed this. You should replace the pictures for the report a bug and suggest a new feature request type. Okay, so as you see here, each one of these request types actually has an icon. So we're going to go ahead and replace a couple of these. So request a defect, report a defect. We're going to change that picture. And actually you just can put a bug image in. We can crop this friendly little chap here. So select that, we're going to update the request type. And I believe the other one, it was suggest a new feature. So we're going to change the icon for this. And select that. Great, so I'm just showing you a couple of different things, a couple of different ways of how you can actually customize your request types. Great, okay, so we've done that. And we can make these, you can easily make the descriptions, make them more relevant to your own use case. So in Raising Text case, it could be mentioning software, for example. So it could be, this is if you need to report a defect on the new game we released. Raising Tech Extreme. Is that the game? On any of raising text software, hardware. So there are many different things, or many different ways to actually customize this, and the description is also a good one. Okay, so let's just update that. So you can also actually categorize the request types, which makes it easier to find them on the customer portal. So let's go ahead and create a new group called support and other. And we're going to group the request types under these new categories. So let's show you here. We have these groups here. Currently, we only have one general group, and all of these request types are actually associated with that one group. So what I want to do is put all of the request types that are associated with the support issue type under a support group. So we're going to edit this group. Actually, first we're going to add a group and call it support. I'm going to add another one and call it other. So as you see here, we haven't actually got anything under these two groups. They're all still just, all of the request types are still under the general group. So what we're going to do is we're going to edit the groups associated with each of these request types and group them appropriately. So let's start off with the group for technical support. I'm going to get rid of the general because it's not very helpful, and mark it as under the support category. We are then going to go to licensing billing questions. Going to edit that group, make this support, save that, and finally, for other questions, going to do the same. For these two, we're going to put these under other. Great. Okay, so as you see here now, we've grouped these under a support group. And other group. You can actually hide them from the portal if you wanted to as well, but we're not doing that now. So these are the two. We no longer have a need for the general group, so we can go ahead and actually delete that. Great. Okay, so let's just show you what that looks like in the customer portal now. We can go and actually visit the portal. You see here we have the two categories, support and other. And under support, we have those three request types, and other actually has a report defect and suggests a new feature. And the beauty of your success, you can categorize it in whatever way you want. It could be by department, it could be by a particular need. This is something that's configurable. Okay, great. Request types under the categories. Now what we're actually going to do is show you how you can add in the fields to the relevant request types. So as you know, earlier we added in platform, feature type, and locations. Now what we're going to do is add those fields to the relevant request types. So let's go back and X out of this. All right, we're already under project settings. So let's go to request types. We're already here. And we're now going to go under edit fields for technical support. These are the fields that we currently have when raising a technical support request. Let me do just briefly the form that actually comes up when we're going to request technical support. So we have a summary, description, components, attachment. So let's go back to the portal. We're going to raise a technical support request. As you see here, we have those relevant fields within the form. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add in a location. So we're going to add a field, and we are going to add location. Great. So that's now actually been added to the form. So, excuse me. If we now go back to the excuse me. It's a little bit wide, this screen. Let's just a little bit smaller. Here we go. Let's go back to the portal. Technical support and location. So we have Atlanta and LA as the options. This is a custom field that we created earlier. You can actually make this mandatory. So let's do that because we want to know where these support issues are coming from, which geographical location. Let's make it mandatory. So location, we're going to go under this required column here. Yes, it's mandatory. We're going to update that. Great. So we've added a field there for this particular request type. So let's go back to the other request types. And I want to go under other. And now for defect, I would like to know which platform the defect is. Are we talking about a mobile or an issue on a mobile app, or is it on desktop? So let's go to edit fields for report a defect. And we are just going to add in platform here to make this mandatory. Update that. Perfect. And now we're going to just one final one for new feature. For this request suggestion, suggest a new feature. We're going to go to edit fields and type. We're going to make that mandatory as well. Let's update that. Great. So once again, I'm just going to show you this in the customer portal now and what it looks like. Guys, we're going to visit the portal. Again, technical support, we now have the mandatory location, LA, Atlanta, to select one of those. Let's go back again. For suggest a new feature, we also now have the feature type. And again, we have platform for the defect type. Add the appropriate fields to the request types. Let's just create a couple of issues now and we'll look at these then later. So new feature in game. Let's just put this as UI. Create that. I'm going to go back. Let's put in technical support query here. I need my password reset. How do I do this? Put in the location. Send in LA. And let's just raise one more. Let's do a defect. Software is broken. Let's make this very generic. And let's do it on a mobile platform and create that. Okay, so now we've created a few different requests. All right. So now that we've done that, let's go back to the presentation and have a look what's next in line. So now we actually want to create an agent to help deal with these requests. And we don't want them to have admin privileges. So how do we actually do this? At the moment, we're set up as an administrator. And when you create users, you need to be an administrator. So we're going to create a Raising Tech agent now. And we're going to log in as a Raising Tech agent and make sure that we can't edit project permissions. So let's go back. I'm going to go to user management. Just loading up. And we want to create a user. Just do my column. So Raising Tech Agent 5. Let's give them a username of Raising Tech Agent 5. Passwords, and associate them with service desk and software. Okay, so we've set the basic application level access. We are going to go to that agent now and look at the project roles. So what we need to do is actually set this new user up with service desk team project role for that particular project. So we're actually going to edit project roles for this user. We are going to go to Raising Tech. Project, there you go, Raising Tech. And we're going to enable this role for that project for this user. So now we know that Raising Tech Agent 5 has the service desk team permission. So let's go ahead and save that. Great. So now let's actually log in and verify that we have agents access to Raising Tech. So Raising Tech Agent 5. I have to go through the setup here. So we'll just do English. We put in avatar, and we can just explore the current projects. So let's go to View All Projects. Let's go to Service Desk, and here we see Raising Tech. And perfect. You see here, there's no project settings or permissions that you can actually change. All we have is the agent view, so we can see the queue we actually raised. So let's just give you a quick overview of that now. As an agent now, we can see the tickets that were actually raised within the customer portal. So if you remember, we put in, I need my password reset, want a new feature in the game, the software's broken, and we can see these in the appropriate queues. And these are the default out of the box queues. So we have all open, unassigned issues, assigned to me, etc. Great, and the agent also actually has access to reports as well. Any ones that have actually been created by the project admin or the sysadmin. You can actually look at the customers as well. You can go to the portal itself as an agent and have a look at it from there. And you can even raise a request directly from within Jira. Okay, great. So now we've added that agent in, just want to show you guys how we can actually do that. Generally, we have more than on the size of the team. So next up, we actually want to open up the portal to customers so that they can create tickets and add an email channel. So as I said before, the agent will not have permission to do that. So we're going to log back in, admin. Let's just make it a bit smaller again. Great. So 6. Perfect. All right, so it's pretty simple process to do this. I'm going to go back to the project. Project settings. You can actually look at the customer permissions. So currently, out of the box with this template, only customers who have an account on the Jira site can actually raise requests. What I want to demonstrate and show you guys is actually how you can send emails and raise a request just from that. So all that we're going to do is just select this option here. Anyone can email the service desk or raise a request in the portal. So we're going to save that. And that's essentially it for that. Next up, we need to customize the portal, add a logo, announcement, and change the various colors. So let's just go to portal settings. We can add in a custom logo, So the logo that I want to use is this one, Raising Tech. I'm going to save that. And we can actually allow agents to put in announcements within the customer portal. So if there's, if there's been an issue that's been recurring, this is a good place to actually put it for your customers. Status page is also another product from Atlassian that's very useful in actually communicating this. But you can also achieve some of the same kind of things within Jira Service Desk, within the customer portal. So let's just say yes, agents are able to actually add announcements to the portal. Okay, so we've added the logo. We can change the introduction text. We hope you enjoyed the experience. We could change Raising Tech customer support, for example, and we can change view and customize. So as you see here, we have the logo, the site itself, not just for the customer portal. You can change the background. So you want to change it to green. You just keep that color. Change your highlights. We got the actual text on the highlights. So there's nothing really highlighted at the moment. And you can put in your announcements here. We have many announcements. Announcement message. We're experiencing some delays due to an overload of requests. So as you see here, we've changed the color. We've got the logo in. We have the announcements here. You can put in a title, and then we have the various request types and the actual service within your Jira instance. Great. Okay, so now we need to configure Service Desk so that emails can be sent from customers and an issue is automatically created and appears in the relevant queue. Okay, so I've actually created a Gmail account called raisingtechsup@gmail.com. And all that we need to do is add this under email requests, track and automatically turn customer emails into issues in your queue. We're going to add an email address. This is our email address. So this is essentially our support inbox. So once we configure this, any email sent to this will actually result in an issue being created or a request being created. So let's validate this, setting up the email channel. Next up, you need to associate a request type for each of your emails. So I'm going to just associate any email that's sent in to go to an other question type. The reason it says not suitable for emails is that these request types do not have a description and a summary field, whereas these do. So for the time being, I'm just going to create or just link the other questions request type to an email that's actually been sent. So let's click on done there. And you can see the actual request types that is created when an email is sent here. Just to reiterate that. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is actually send a couple of emails from Raising Tech employee to that inbox. And then I'm going to show you within here where we can actually see these. So let's go to queues. Currently, we have 4 tickets that are open. Let's just send off a couple to Raising Tech support. Subject is password reset. How do I reset my password? Let's send one more. Wi-Fi password. And let's send that across. There's normally about a minute delay or so, and then we should see these requests appear under this queue. So I'm just going to take a quick 5-minute break here, and I will join you at about 10 o'clock and we can continue with this. Thanks for listening so far. Hope you're enjoying it. Talk to you soon. Okay, I'm back with a cup of tea as well, just to soothe my throat. Okay, so hopefully now we should have a couple. Interesting. Amazing tech support. Let's go back. Have a look at the project settings. We are going to go to the portal. No requests. Bear with me here, guys. Let's try that again. It's clearly being a little bit finicky here. Expect tested this out actually yesterday. Essentially, if you actually let me just check one more thing. Let's just edit this once more. Save this. Let's try this once more. Text. Okay, as you see here, we have a an issue that's just been created. There was a little bit flaky there. Sometimes it does take 20, 30 seconds to come, but not normally that long. But I mean, this is an example here of a ticket that's been created through sending that email. We see the this employee, the first name from the Gmail account, and we can see here, we go into the actual request, the details, password reset. We have the various SLAs here, and it's not assigned to anybody yet. But I'm just an example here of an email actually creating requests. It's pretty neat because a lot of times customers don't actually want to go into a portal. They just want to send an email, and we can keep track of it all within here. Great. Okay. Well, I'm glad that worked. Okay. What is next up? So we saw this actually came into the relevant queue. So I'll show you again. You know, it's open, it's all open. We can actually go in here, let's assign it to myself. We can see that the queue has now been updated to one ticket after I just assigned it to myself. Great. Okay, so customers can actually get notifications after they send emails, for example. They could get a response saying, you know, we're working on your ticket, expect a response within 24 hours, for example. There's different things that you can actually do here. So if you look back here, this is a default notification. Just confirming that we got your request, we're on it. This is from Raising Tech customer support. And I'm going to show you how you can actually modify these. So let's go back to project settings. We're going to go to customer notifications. And we have a bunch of default rules here. So once a request is created, you saw that you actually get a response. It's very generic kind of email here. It's pretty easy to edit. So let's just open that up. You can exclude the person who calls the action, as in who the notification goes to, and you can make this, you know, more specific to your company or to your actual needs. So just confirm that that we got your request, and now we can say Raising Tech is on it. There's different ways that you can format it. You click on form, gives you a bunch of tips here. You can also enable or disable customer notifications by clicking on this checkbox, and you can also get a preview of the notification if you want to test it out. Let's save that and just go through some of the other ones here. Public comment added. So when a comment that is visible to your customers is added to the request/issue, your service desk sends all customers involved on the request a notification. Now, some of these, depending on your needs, won't be required, so you can go in and disable them. And sometimes you can add in a custom rule, which is also fairly easy to do. We'll be talking about these later on. Let's go back. You know, request resolve, for example. Let's you know, resolve this issue. Thanks for your query from the Raising Tech team. Very simple to do. Okay, so I'm just going to add another couple of requests via email. So we have more to work with. Wi-Fi password. Hey, not sure what the Wi-Fi password is. Let's do one more. Okay, great. So if we give that a couple of minutes or a minute, then we should have a few more requests in here. So it's building up nicely. Let's go back to queues. Okay, great. Perfect. Okay, so what's the next requirement here? We personalize the customer notifications. Let's see if there are any unnecessary ones. You know, what might not be very useful. If we go to customer notification, let's go to, you know, share to an organization. I don't think we need to do that. Let's just disable that. Okay, great. So another great feature of Jira Service Desk is the customer satisfaction survey. So let's enable that for this project, and then I'll show you how you can actually use it. So let's go to satisfaction settings. It's actually on by default here. So essentially when a request is actually resolved, be sent to the customer, and they can rate it out of 5. So let's go to one of these issues. So if you wanted to disable it, you just click it like that. We are going to go to queues. And then we're going to go to password reset, or let's go to password reset. You know, let's say we've responded to the customer. We're now going to actually resolve the issue. Resolve the issue. Now the customer will actually be notified via email about the resolution with the comment, and they'll also be asked to fill out the satisfaction survey. So they'll give their ranking there out of 5 stars. Just a very way for you, excuse me, to actually keep on track of, you know, the kind of customer care that you're providing. If there's room for improvements for a specific request type, if there are particular people who are constantly getting poor feedback, you know, do you need to train them better? Do you need them to do something differently? So these are all things that you can look at. So shortly we should be getting an email saying that the issue has been resolved for, I believe, the password reset. In the meantime, I'm going to show you how you can actually see satisfaction. So once we've actually received the email and given our satisfaction rate, you will have under reports and satisfaction an average rating, and the user who actually provides the feedback can also give a review as well. And you'll find this under this section here, and you can look back at the past 7 days or however long you'd like to. Okay, looks like we just received it. So this is a resolution. Change of status to resolved. The comment is, thank you, we're done. How do we think we did in this? You know, this neither good nor bad. And we can put in a comment. Service was okay. Add that comment in. If we go back here, may just take some time to update. Let's give that 20 seconds. It's very neat because you can get an overall impression here about the different people, some of the comments that are useful. Definitely use this, whether it's internal or external. I always believe that this feature is useful. All right, there we go. Okay, so we now have one user review. Service was okay, was a comment that I put in there. 3 stars out of 5. This is the actual issue. And this is the agent that was actually dealing with it, myself, obviously. And when was this received? Great. Okay, so Raising Tech now has their satisfaction survey in check. So this one's a big thing and can actually save. You know, we save a lot of clients a lot of money by setting up knowledge bases. And so customers can essentially self-serve themselves and don't even really need to create tickets. So what I'm going to do now, what I'm going to show you now is how you create a space in Confluence and how you actually link it up with your Jira Service Desk project. So let's go ahead and create a space in Confluence. So Confluence. Okay, great. So we actually have a Raising Tech space already, but let's just create a new one. Let's log in first. So we can go here. Let's just delete this Raising Tech, start fresh. So to create a new space, we're going to create knowledge base articles within that space, and we're going to link it to our Jira Service Desk project so that customers can find related how-to articles, etc. So let's create space. We're going to create a knowledge base space, this template here. The space name, Raising Tech KB. Let's just call it that. Description, Raising Tech. Great. So now we've actually created this space. You know, you can edit the home page. Right now, all we're going to do is create a couple of how-to articles. So within this space, within this context, we're going to create how-to article, connect to Wi-Fi. Just create that. Step, you know, this is a template that actually comes with this page now. So how do you connect to Wi-Fi? This is what the customer is going to see. So select the correct Wi-Fi ID, you know, whatever it's called, Raising Tech Wi-Fi 5G, for example. Enter the password, Raising Tech. So let's just keep this very basic for the time being. I just want to show you the basic functionality here. So let's just publish that. Okay, great. And now we're going to create one more on how to reset your password. Password. So first step is just go to Windows screen. Again, this is just completely fictitious. Go to Windows screen. Go to forgot your password. The question. Find password in email. Again, completely fictitious, but this is just for the purpose of the knowledge base. So now we have to, let's actually move this. We created this reset your password page under the connect to Wi-Fi page. So we're going to move this. Yeah, all right, that's fine. So we have these two pages now, reset your password, connect to Wi-Fi. So now what we're going to do is we're going to link this up as we have in the requirements here. We have created the two knowledge base articles, and now we're going to link the space to our Jira Service Desk project. Okay, great. So let's go to project settings. We have knowledge base here within project settings. And yes, we do want to link to a Confluence space. Confluence. And we want to link it to Raising Tech KB knowledge base. So you need to create your application links. You need your sysadmin to do that with Jira and Confluence. Once that's actually been established and they can communicate, then the administrator can come in here and actually link up the space. So let's link that. It's pretty much that. So all active users and customers can access the knowledge base without a Confluence license. So let's do that. And we can even set which request types can actually search the knowledge base. There's some interesting stuff here too. Okay, great. So that's linked up now. How does that actually help us? So let's go back to the customer portal. Let's visit the portal. So let's say you come in. you don't know how to connect to Wi-Fi, you can now simply search for it. You don't even need to raise a ticket anymore. Go to connect to Wi-Fi, and there you have it. Very simple. You got your step-by-step guide. Similarly, you could do this, let's go back actually, for password. Reset your password. That's the most relevant one. And there you have the steps there too. So it's fantastic here. It saves a lot of time. Your agents don't need to mess around. On top of that, agents can actually share these articles with the customer as well. So if we go to the queues, and let's say we have all open, we're going to go to the Wi-Fi password. I'm going to assign that to me. So let's actually need to change the setting within within Confluence and the space permissions. So let's go to permissions. Yes, Jira users as well. And we can also edit anonymous access. So your customers don't actually need a license to access the articles. Let's just enable that. Let's log out and log back in. And as you see here, that restriction is now gone. We've allowed this agent or user to actually share a relevant article. So if you imagine we're an agent coming into this ticket, they've requested, hey, not sure what the Wi-Fi password is. Automatically, we have related knowledge base article here that connect to Wi-Fi. And what the agent can do is, if the customer hasn't found it yet, it can come in here, share this as a Wi-Fi, connect to Wi-Fi, share with the customer, and have a link to go to that particular knowledge base article, and we can consider this resolved. So we can just resolve the issue. Knowledge base article sent. When you create your own article, if one doesn't exist and you think it would be relevant for a lot of users, simple to do. You can choose a template as well. So it's very useful features here for the knowledge base and the self-service. Great. Okay, so we've configured that now for raising tech. Next up, we have edit the standard SLAs and increase the goals by 2 hours in each case. The time to first response for all minor issues should be changed to 20 hours. Okay, so let's go to the SLA section. Here. So we have two out-of-the-box SLAs that are being configured. We have time to resolution and time to first response. So let me just show you where these two actually appear within a ticket. You see here, we have time to resolution and time to first response. So we responded within 8 hours. Hence we have the tick here. Excuse me. And we've actually resolved the issue already. And that was also within the 24-hour time frame. So we can see here that both of our SLAs have actually been hit, and we've done well with this issue. So let's go back to project settings. and SLAs. Look at the requirements again. So we want to increase the goals by 2 hours in each case. The time to first response for all minor issues should be changed to 20 hours. Okay. Oh. Okay, so we're going to increase the goals by 2 hours. So let's edit this. So this now means the goal to first or to resolve the issue for any blocker is now going to be 6 hours as opposed to 4 hours. For these two types, we're going to have 8 hours, 26 hours, okay, great. So that's done. We've increased the total by 2 hours, and the time to first response for all minor issues should be changed to 20 hours. So let's go to first response. Save the configuration. We're going to edit this. We're going to put in issue type, or not even the issue type, priority equals minor, and we're going to put in 20 hours. And that's essentially it. So just to context around this, the first JQL query that's hit is the one that is actually going to be the goal for that particular issue. So in this case, if the issue is minor, the goal is going to be 20 hours. And last but not least, all remaining issues will actually have a goal of 8 hours to resolve. So we've edited the SLAs, we've put in a new goal here. So I hope that provides a bit more background. Okay, one other thing that you can actually do within the SLAs is set up your calendars. So sometimes aren't the standards 9 to 5 kind of calendar. Sometimes it's 8 to 6, for example. So there's different ways that we can actually deal with this. Let's just save this. We can go to our calendars. Our 9 to 5 one, we can modify. So it's in use. We can edit here. And let's say we want to change Monday's work calendar or time from 8 to 6. Add that in there. We can do it for the rest. Tuesday. Add that in. Thursday. And last but not least, Friday. So we've changed our work hours now from 8 to 6. Which is the requirement for raising tech. We are going to save this now. And we have the updated hours. So the SLAs are only going to run within these business hours. Outside of these business hours, the time's literally going to stop. So next to the clock that you actually see in the SLA window, it's going to be grayed out and it won't be running. So it's important to get these times in so that the actual SLAs are reflected properly and the metrics are good. You're also able to add in holidays here, so you could put in your bank holidays and things like that, and days that you don't actually work on. So it's just something else to keep in mind here. Great. Okay, so we've changed the SLAs here a little bit, tweaked them a little bit, just to show you guys what you actually need to do. Automation rules we touched on earlier. You can add in all sorts of automation rules. Let's just show you here. So these are the out-of-the-box ones. So we have here transition on comment. When a comment is added to an issue, this rule automatically transitions the issue so who it's waiting on. So for example, if your customer responds via email, the status in the request within Jira itself is going to say waiting on support. So this is very handy. Otherwise you have to manually change this each time with a new comment, and you don't really know where it's at, and then your SLAs are going to be affected by that too. So it's very, very nifty. Another potential one that you could set up as far as an automation rule goes is reopening on a customer comment. When a comment is added to a resolved issue, this rule will reopen the issue. You may not necessarily want to do that, but it's just an option there. And there's a whole host of other automations you can. So for us, for Raising Tech, reopen a ticket on the customer comment is one of the ones that we want. So we're going to put that in. And as you see here, we have a when, if, and then. So when a comment is added, and if the issue is actually resolved and the comment is public, used as a customer, then we're going to reopen the issue. We actually need to put in a name here. So just make this very easy. Reopen ticket on customer comment. So that's looking good. Let's save that. The rule is enabled, and reopen ticket on customer comment is now there. There's one other rule that we should be, automation that we should be enabling here. Set customer expectations. So if we have this, let customer know of expected resolution times when they raise a request. So let's just enable that. Set customer expectations, and you can modify these rules and put the actual times in yourself. Add comment. You can put edit issue in. Okay. Let's get rid of that. Again, that was, I was just showing you what you can actually do there. You can edit fields, you can do all sorts of different things. But those are the out of the box ones. There's also add-ons that we'll be touching on later that can actually improve this for you as well. Great, okay, so put a couple of automations in there. Now we're going to look at the queues. So we need to add one queue in here to capture all defects. Previously, we were just capturing all bugs. We got rid of that and just added in the defect issue type. So let's go here and go to our queues. So if you see here, bugs, right? We don't deal with bugs. Let's delete that. We're going to put in defects. Type, just put in defect. And you can make this advanced if you need to put in some other kind of stuff, but if you just need the basics, in our case we do, we'll just select the defect issue type, create that, and as you see here, we have one defect, and now we can handle that. You can move these queues around as well. So if you want to put this somewhere else, you can put this up here at the top if this is a priority. So it's very simple here to modify the queues and mess around with those and order those, reorder those. Great. Okay, lastly here, just want to create a couple of reports. We've kind of touched on it with the satisfaction, but let's go into a bit more depth. So we're going to go here to reports. We have admin privileges. And one of the reports that we need to create is to show how many requests are submitted via email and how many are submitted via the portal. So we're just literally going to click on new report. We're going to call this email versus portal. We'll create that. We're going to go to edit. We're going to add in a series. And we're going to call this email. The label is going to be email. We'll give it a color of, let's give it a color of blue. Make this advanced, and so some JQL, I'm just going to call this request channel type. equals email. Okay, so we can see here, looking at this report, that there have been 5 tickets raised via email. But we actually want to add a comparison in here, right? So we want to see where we're at for emails and where we're at for port or requests created from the portal. So let's add one more series in. We'll call this portal. Very similarly, we're just going to go to request channel type equals portal. Add that. And we see here we have 4 issues raised from the portal. Again, we have the color red. For the email channel, it's blue, 5. So we can see here a direct comparison. So this could be interesting for management, and you can even actually get this, let's save this, export to CSV, and you can get a CSV format of this, and you'll see for which days how many requests were raised depending on which. Cool. So we set that email versus portal report up. We have a bunch of other custom reports that come out of the box, like created versus resolved, time to resolution, SLA met versus breached, support requests, and things like that. So some of those could be useful. We have one more report to create. So we have create a report which shows all support tickets which have been set to a region of NY or Atlanta. So again, we're going to create a new report. We're going to call this location of, or just, yeah, location of support. Just create that. We're going to edit, add in a series, and we're going to say Atlanta is going to be defined as red. Location. Did we not have that in? Okay, we'll change this around. We'll make this platform of defect. I'm going to edit that. We'll make this UI. Platform equals, believe it was UI. That was feature type. Okay, so desktop we'll use. Okay, so we haven't raised any for that. We'll add in one more. So the platform equals desktop. We'll make that desktop and put in blue color. Okay, so nothing's actually been raised as far as the platform. So let's actually just go in there just to show you what we can do there. So let's go back to report defect. I'm going to put in a platform of mobile issue, create. I didn't save it. That was clever, wasn't it? Okay, so let's platform with defect. So mobile, advanced, platform. Equals mobile, add that. Now we have 2 in there. And then we're going to do so mobile, and we have desktop. Platform equals desktop. Okay, cool. Let's make that black. So then we have none for that, but we have 2 for mobile. So let's save that. Great. So now we have two reports here that we can look at and that we can keep track of. Excellent. So those are the main requirements. I hope you had some insight into Jira Service Desk and how it can actually be useful for your company and the types of things that you can do with it. So right now I just want to wrap up with a few slides. So one of the important things to remember is the marketplace. So there are a lot of different add-ons that can actually help you guys out with regards to functionality within Jira Service Desk. So I mean, these are some examples of them. So we have like dynamic forms, canned responses, Insight, a lot of different apps, automation for Jira. These are probably the most common ones. So let's just look at Insight a little bit. Insight's actually very useful because you can look at your dependencies on hardware, who owns what. You can keep an inventory of, you know, for example, who has that mobile phone, what operating system is on that. So it's very, very useful, and a lot of clients use it. Dynamic forms is excellent. It makes the user experience for users in the customer portal much better. So you can put in, you know, optional fields and basically make other fields mandatory based on the input from other fields. So this is something else that's used a lot by clients. Kamala workflows is another great thing for Confluence. So you can basically, let's say you're creating a how-to article, but you want to put in a workflow there to make sure that it's approved by your manager and it's all good. Basically, you can put in workflows for Confluence pages. So I definitely recommend that. Team calendars is another great thing that you can actually use in Confluence. So you can really see who's doing what, who's working on what, who's working on which projects, the actual issue, support issue, etc. So just a few words on the platform that Jira Service Desk is actually supported on. We have server, we have cloud, we have data center. So it's self-hosted on data center and server. Cloud is obviously managed by Atlassian. And just to go over some of the pros and cons of each. Data center, you know, it's highly scalable. You can make it more scalable with increasing nodes. You can have unlimited users. So if your enterprise is huge, Jira Service Desk Data Center is definitely the way forward. Server's probably the next one as far as capacity goes for users, but performance can become an issue. And Jira Service Desk hosted by Atlassian on the cloud only allows fewer than 2,000 Jira users. So that's just something to keep in mind there. Excuse me. So as far as add-ons, they're actually supported by each one of the platforms. There's about 500 for data center, 630 for server, and 250 for Jira Service Desk Cloud. For data center and server, you have full file system and database access, whereas on cloud, you don't have any access to the file system, nor do you have database access. Finally, Jira Service Desk Data Center, it's got high availability, so you can reroute your traffic to available nodes if one goes down, and server and cloud do not have these benefits at all. So data center is definitely the way to go forward there. I just want to say thank you very much for joining this pretty long webinar. I hope it helped you guys out. Please contact us if you have any questions around Jira Service Desk or anything related to Atlassian. Have a great day and hopefully speak to you soon. Bye-bye.